When I moved into Cypress Pines Estates, I was hoping for tranquility, a quiet community with tree-lined streets, friendly neighbors, and just enough HOA oversight to keep things tidy without being tyrannical. That illusion lasted all of 2 weeks before I met Karen Whitmore, the self-proclaimed queen of code enforcement and the HOA vice president. Now, for context, I'm Daniel Roth, the Postmaster General of the United States. My career spans decades of postal policy, federal logistics, and infrastructure oversight. I've overseen the modernization of postal systems across states. But when I moved to the suburbs to be closer to my grandkids, I didn't advertise who I was. I just wanted to enjoy early retirement and occasionally tinker with woodworking in my garage. One of my first projects was crafting a custom mailbox. Nothing flashy, just a sturdy cedar box, painted navy with a brass flag, standing on a reinforced post. I designed it to blend with the aesthetic of the neighborhood while improving functionality. The height, spacing, and placement were in full compliance with USPS regulations, down to the inch. But that didn't matter to Karen. She showed up at my doorstep 2 days after installation, clutching a printed copy of the HOA handbook and her smartphone, open to the camera app. "That mailbox is non-compliant," she said with the tone of someone who relishes disapproval. "It violates our community aesthetic standards." I raised an eyebrow. "How so?" "It's not one of the 3 approved designs listed in Section 12, subsection B. We require standard-issue black, box-shaped units with metal posts. Yours looks like something out of a coastal gift shop." "It's made from treated cedar and anchored to prevent tilt," I explained. "It's fully weatherproof and the dimensions meet federal." She cut me off. "I've already reported it to county code enforcement and submitted photos. It's going to have to come down by Friday, or you'll be fined $250 and reported for noncompliance." I gave her a tight-lipped smile. "Karen, do you know how mailbox regulations work?" "I know how our rules work," she replied smugly. What she didn't know was that federal law supersedes HOA policy when it comes to mailboxes. Specifically, Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 1705, protects mail receptacles as federal property once installed for official postal use. Furthermore, only USPS-approved mailboxes that meet the Domestic Mail Manual, DMM, specifications may be used, and my design not only met but exceeded those standards. I calmly walked into my office and returned with my credentials, a stamped letter from the United States Postal Service Engineering Department, and a laminated copy of the USPS Mailbox Design and Placement Guide, with my prototype featured on page 7. I handed her the documents. "Karen, I oversee these standards at the national level. Your HOA doesn't have the authority to override USPS mailbox compliance. In fact, tampering with or removing a compliant mailbox could constitute a federal offense." Her mouth opened slightly. "You're who exactly?" "I'm the Postmaster General." Karen stood frozen for a moment, processing what I'd said. Her eyes darted between the documents and the neatly constructed mailbox, which now seemed to glow in righteous cedar glory. "I'll, speak with the board," she muttered, then turned on her heel and briskly walked away. The next day, a mass email was sent out to all residents titled "Clarification on Mailbox Standards and Federal Compliance," stating that residents may use USPS-compliant custom mailboxes and that HOA design preferences do not supersede federal regulations. The notice ended with a sheepish line: "Please consult official USPS guidelines before making changes." A week later, 3 neighbors asked me where I got my mailbox made. One even offered to buy a replica. I politely declined, but pointed them to the correct specs on the USPS site. As for Karen, she still jogs by with her little clipboard, but she hasn't made eye contact since. And my mailbox? Still standing strong, still cedar, and now a bit of a neighborhood legend. Moral of the story: before you try enforcing petty rules on someone's mailbox, make sure you're not lecturing the guy who runs the mail system.